I never thought I was different, until I fell in love with a man I was terrified to want. I never questioned myself. I dated women. I laughed with my friends. I lived the life people expected from me, and I believed that was enough. Until him. I didn't notice it at first. That's the part people never talk about. It doesn't start with desire. It starts with attention. The way I listened when he spoke. The way my eyes followed him without meaning to. The way silence felt heavier when he left the room. I told myself it was nothing. I was wrong. His name was Ethan. We met through mutual friends. Same circles. Same jokes. Same late nights. He treated me like I mattered. Not in a romantic way, just honestly. And somehow that made everything worse. The first time I noticed my body react, I panicked. He laughed at something I said and leaned closer. Just for a second. My chest tightened. Not excitement. Fear. I pulled away so fast he noticed. "You good?" he asked. "Yeah." I lied. That became my favorite word. I started avoiding him. Not because I didn't want him around. Because I wanted him too much. I didn't understand it. I didn't want to understand it. One night we were alone. Music low. Lights dim. Nothing dramatic. He looked at me and said, "You've been distant lately." I swallowed. "I've just been tired." Another lie. He didn't push. That hurt more than if he had. Later, when I was leaving, he touched my arm. Just to stop me. Nothing more. But my whole body reacted like it had been waiting. I froze. He froze too. Then he said quietly, "I don't know what this is, but I feel it too." My heart dropped. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't confusion anymore. This was the truth. And I didn't know if I was brave enough to face it. I went home that night and stared at the ceiling for hours. Not because I didn't know how I felt, but because I knew exactly how I felt, and I was afraid of what loving him would mean. After that night, I told myself it was over. One moment doesn't change a life. One feeling doesn't mean anything. One touch doesn't rewrite who you are. That's what I kept saying. I stopped answering Ethan's messages. Not completely, just slower, shorter replies, less emotion. I convinced myself that distance would fix it. Didn't. Everywhere I went, I noticed his absence. He used to sit beside me without asking. Now the seat stayed empty. He used to laugh at my jokes first. Now he barely looked at me. And somehow that hurt more than being close. A week passed. Then another. I thought he would confront me. He didn't. Instead, he respected the distance. That broke me a little. One night, a friend invited us both out. I almost didn't go. I told myself I needed to prove something. That I could be normal again. So I went. The bar was loud. Too loud. I talked too much. I laughed too hard. I flirted with a girl I didn't care about. I felt Ethan's eyes on me. I didn't look back. At some point, she leaned in and kissed my cheek. People cheered. Someone clapped. I smiled. Ethan stood up and walked out. That's when my chest started hurting. I followed him outside. Cold air hit my face. He was standing there, hands in his pockets, staring at nothing. "You didn't have to do that," he said quietly. "Do what?" I asked. "Prove something you don't owe anyone." I didn't answer, because he was right. "I meant what I said," he continued, "about feeling something." I laughed nervously. That was a misunderstanding. He looked at me then. Really looked. "No," he said. "It wasn't." Silence fell between us. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Honest. "I'm not ready," I finally said. His jaw tightened. "I'm not asking you to be ready," he replied. "I'm asking you not to lie to me." That hurt more than I expected. "I need space," I said. He nodded slowly. "Okay." No anger. No pressure. Just disappointment. And that somehow felt worse. Later that night, my phone buzzed. A message from Ethan. "I won't push you, but I won't pretend I didn't feel it either." I stared at the screen, because I realized something painful. I wasn't afraid of him. I was afraid of myself. That night, I dreamed about him for the first time. And when I woke up, I knew pretending was no longer enough. I thought ignoring my feelings would make them disappear. Instead, they grew louder. I tried to focus on anything else. Work, friends, noise. But every quiet moment led back to Ethan. His voice, his honesty, the way he never pressured me even when I deserved it. That kindness scared me more than rejection ever could. Weeks passed. We became polite strangers. We said hello. We said goodbye. Nothing in between. And that hurt more than fighting. Then I heard the rumor. Someone said Ethan was seeing someone. Just casual. Nothing serious. But my chest tightened like I couldn't breathe. I told myself I had no right to feel that way. I told myself I had chosen this. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything. The touch, the look, the words I never said. And for the first time I admitted the truth. I didn't want him to move on. I wanted him to wait. And that wasn't fair. The next day, I saw him laughing with someone else. Not flirting. Just open. The way he used to be with me. Something inside me broke. Pulled him aside. "Can we talk?" I asked. He hesitated, then nodded. We stood outside, the air heavy between us. "I heard you're seeing someone," I said. He looked surprised. "I went on one date." My heart sank. "Oh, that bothered you," he said gently. I didn't answer, because if I did, I might finally tell the truth. "I can stop," he added. I looked at him sharply. "No," I said. "You shouldn't." "Why?" he asked. Because I was afraid. Because I was confused. Because loving him felt like standing on the edge of a cliff. "I can't give you what you deserve," I whispered. He stepped closer. "I never asked you to," he said. "I just wanted honesty." Something in his voice cracked. And suddenly, I realized what I was doing. I wasn't protecting myself. I was hurting him. "I'm scared," I said finally. My voice shook. "Of what?" he asked. "Of wanting you," I replied. The words hung between us. Heavy. Irreversible. Ethan didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He just nodded slowly. "Thank you for telling me," he said. I thought that would be the end. I thought honesty would bring relief. Instead, it brought silence. Because after that moment, Ethan started pulling away. For real this time. I told him the truth. And for the first time, I understood the cost of waiting too long. Ethan didn't disappear all at once. That would have been easier. He faded. His replies came later, then shorter, then not at all. I told myself I deserved it. I had finally been honest. But honesty doesn't erase the damage done by silence. I watched him move on from a distance. Not dramatically, just calmly. He laughed again. He smiled without looking around for me. He stopped waiting. That hurt more than I expected. One night, a mutual friend mentioned his name casually. "He's thinking about leaving town," they said. "New job opportunity." The room went quiet. I forced a laugh. That's good for him. Inside, everything collapsed. I went home and sat on my bed, staring at my phone. I typed his name, deleted it, typed again, deleted again. What could I even say now? "Don't go" sounded selfish. "I'm ready" sounded like a lie. I wasn't sure I could keep it. Days passed. I avoided places I knew he might be, because if I saw him, I knew I'd break. And I wasn't sure what pieces would fall out. The night before he was supposed to leave, I ran into him by accident, outside a quiet cafe, late, cold. He looked surprised to see me. "Hey," he said. "Hey." That was it. Two people who once meant everything, reduced to a word. "I heard you might be leaving," I said. He nodded. "I need a fresh start." I swallowed. "That makes sense." Silence stretched between us. Unfinished. Heavy. "I never blamed you," he said suddenly, "for being scared." I looked at him. "Then why does this feel like goodbye?" He exhaled slowly. "Because I can't keep hoping for something you're not ready to give. That was fair. That was kind. That was devastating. I don't want to hold you back," I whispered. He smiled sadly. You never held me back. Then he stepped back. Just one step, but it felt like miles. That night I didn't sleep. I realized something too late. Fear had protected me from pain, but it had also kept me from love. And now love was walking away. If I let him leave that day, I knew the regret would stay with me forever. I didn't plan a speech. I didn't rehearse anything. I just knew one thing. If I let him leave without trying, that regret would stay with me forever. I grabbed my keys and ran. I didn't know where he was yet. I just knew where he might be. The bus station. The place where endings happen quietly. I saw him before he saw me, standing there with a small bag, looking calm, ready. And suddenly, I understood something painful. He hadn't been waiting for me to choose him. He had been waiting for me to choose myself. Ethan, I said, breathless. He turned, surprised, then guarded. You didn't have to come, he said gently. I know, I replied, but I needed to. I stood there, heart pounding. No crowd, no drama, just truth. I was scared, I said. Not of you, not of love. He listened without interrupting. I was scared of what loving you would change, I continued. Of what I'd lose, of who I'd disappoint. My voice shook, but losing you felt worse than all of that. He looked away for a moment. When he looked back, his eyes were wet. I never wanted to pressure you, he said. I just needed to know if I mattered. You do, I said immediately. You always did. Silence fell between us. Not heavy this time, hopeful. So what are you saying? He asked softly. I took a breath. I'm saying I don't have everything figured out, I said. But I know this. I stepped closer. I don't want a life where I keep choosing fear over you. He smiled then. Not wide, not dramatic, just real. That's all I ever wanted, he said. We didn't kiss. Not yet. He reached for my hand instead. And I didn't pull away. That felt bigger than any kiss. Later, we sat together at a small cafe nearby, talking about nothing, about everything. No promises of forever, just a promise of trying. And for the first time in my life, that felt like enough. I didn't suddenly become brave. I just stopped running. And in choosing him, I finally chose myself.